Gus March Phillips. I have a mission. I want you to lead.
Welcome back to the channel, my fellow movie enthusiasts. Alexander Omoni here, and today I've got a treat for you. We're diving into the world of espionage, action, and a dash of comedy with the film The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. Now, if you're a fan of explosive war dramas with a quirky twist, then buckle up, because this one's gonna be right up your alley. Directed by the one and only Guy Ritchie, you know we're in for a wild ride. So grab your popcorn, sit back, and let's talk about what this movie brings to the table. So what's the gist of this movie? Well, it's based on a real story, or rather, a heavily fictionalized version of one. Remember that saying, truth is stranger than fiction? Yeah, that's where this movie begins, but then it ramps up the fiction to 11. We're talking about a group of rogue operatives in World War II who are part of a Black Ops mission so secretive that even Winston Churchill had to approve it under the table. These aren't your regular soldiers. These are the desperados of war, tasked with pulling off the kind of mission that only someone with a death wish or a really good sense of humor would sign up for. The movie kicks off in 1941, and the UK is having a rough time, to say the least. London is getting bombed left, right, and center, and German submarines are wreaking havoc on their supply lines. Enter Brigadier Colin Gubbins, played with just the right mix of grit and charm, who hatches a plan for a sabotage mission that would make any action hero proud. His goal? To disrupt the Nazis' resupply operations on the Spanish-controlled island of Fernando Po. But this isn't just about blowing things up. It's about doing it with style, with a team of characters who are as unorthodox as they come. Henry Cavill leads the charge as Gus March Phillips, a guy who can be described as James Bond's rougher, more reckless cousin. He's joined by a ragtag group, including the suave Richard Herron and the badass Marjorie Stewart, played by Eiza Gonzalez, who brings a fierce yet fun energy to the screen. And let's not forget about the man himself, Alan Ritchson as Graham Hayes. Because what's a war film without a hulking guy ready to throw down at a moment's notice? Now, while this sounds like it could be all serious, Guy Ritchie does what he does best. He injects humor and wit into the script. So, expect to laugh as much as you're on the edge of your seat. There's this great balance where the stakes are high, but the characters never lose their cool or their sharp tongues. It's a war film, sure, but it's a war film that knows how to have fun with its premise. Let's talk characters, because this movie is packed with them, each more memorable than the last. First up, Henry Cavill as Gus. What can I say? The guy just owns the screen. He's got that classic leading man vibe, but with a gritty edge that makes him perfect for this role. He's not just the muscle. He's got brains and a dry wit that keeps things entertaining. What do you think? Did Cavill nail it as the unconventional war hero, or did he fall a bit short? Let me know in the comments below. Then there's Marjorie Stewart, the femme fatale with a heart of gold. Well, sort of. Eiza Gonzalez brings so much flair to this role, it's impossible not to love her. She's cunning, dangerous, and yet there's a warmth to her that makes you root for her every step of the way. And can we talk about that scene where she goes full undercover, seducing the SS Commander Heinrich Lure? It's classic spy stuff, but with a twist that only Ritchie could pull off. Alan Ritchson as Graham Hayes. Now there's a character that's all about brute force. He's the kind of guy who would rather punch first and ask questions later. But here's the thing. Ritchson plays him with just enough charm that you can't help but like him, even when he's being a total brute. And then there's the rest of the team, each bringing something unique to the table, making this a true ensemble piece. One of the best things about this movie is how it keeps you guessing. Just when you think you've got it all figured out, there's a twist or a clever bit of strategy that throws you off. The mission they're on isn't straightforward, and the movie does a great job of showing just how chaotic and unpredictable war can be, especially when you're part of an off-the-books operation that technically isn't supposed to exist. There's a great sequence where the team has to decide whether to abandon their mission to save one of their own or stick to the plan and risk everything. It's tense, it's emotional, and it's where the movie really shines. You can feel the weight of their decisions, and it makes you wonder, what would you do in their shoes? Stick to the plan or go for the rescue? Leave your thoughts in the comments. As we move into the final act of the movie, things really start to heat up. The team arrives at Fernando Po and the tension is palpable. The Duchessa d'Aosta, the Italian supply ship they're targeting, is preparing to leave earlier than expected, and the team is forced to think on their feet. This is where the movie's blend of action and humor really kicks into high gear. The scenes here are pure Guy Ritchie, quick cuts, snappy dialogue, and a heist that feels like it could go wrong at any second. The plan to hijack the ships instead of blowing them up is a brilliant twist, and it showcases the team's ability to adapt under pressure. You can practically feel the clock ticking down as they scramble to pull off the mission. And then, of course, there's the showdown between Marjorie and Heinrich Lure. This isn't just a battle of wits, but also a physical confrontation that keeps you on the edge of your seat. Marjorie's character arc really comes full circle here, showing her not just as a seductive spy, but as a capable and lethal operative who isn't afraid to get her hands dirty. When she finally pulls the trigger on Lure, it's a moment of cathartic release. But it's also a reminder of the brutal reality of war. After the mission's success, the team finds themselves in hot water, arrested and facing a potential court-martial, but just when it seems like all hope is lost, they're saved by none other than Winston Churchill himself. This scene is both hilarious and satisfying, as Churchill, played with a sly charm, praises their unconventional methods and recruits them into his Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. This moment feels like a setup for future adventures, and it leaves you wondering if there might be a sequel in the works. The idea of this rogue team taking on more secret missions during the war is definitely appealing. What do you think? Would you want to see a sequel with these characters? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We've talked a bit about the main characters, but it's worth mentioning just how well the entire cast performs. Henry Golding, playing Richard Herron, brings a level of sophistication and smooth-talking charm that's hard to resist. He's the guy who always has a plan, and his chemistry with the rest of the cast, especially with Eiza Gonzalez's Marjorie, is electric. And then there's Alex Pettyfer as Freddy Alvarez, a character who could easily have been a throwaway, but Pettyfer gives him enough depth and charisma to make him memorable. His interactions with Anders Lassen, the Danish officer played by an intense yet likable actor, provide some of the film's more grounded, emotional moments. Even the smaller roles, like, those of the Nazi officers and the various British military personnel, are played with a mix of seriousness and tongue-in-cheek humor that fits the film's tone perfectly. It's clear that everyone involved was having a good time making this movie, and that energy translates on screen. Visually, the movie is a feast for the eyes. Guy Ritchie's signature style is all over this film, from the dynamic camera angles to the stylized action sequences. The period setting is beautifully recreated with attention to detail in the costumes, sets, and even the soundtrack, which blends classic wartime tunes with more modern, upbeat tracks that keep the energy high. One standout sequence is the infiltration of the Nazi stronghold in the Canary Islands. The way Ritchie combines tension with his trademark visual flair, think slow-motion action shots, rapid cuts, and witty banter, makes this scene one of the most enjoyable in the film. You'll be on the edge of your seat one moment and laughing out loud the next. So the big question is, the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare worth your time? Absolutely. It's not just another World War II movie. It's a fresh, fun, and fast-paced take on the genre that mixes history with a good dose of fiction. Sure, it might not be the most historically accurate film out there, but who's watching a Guy Ritchie movie for a history lesson anyway? The combination of an all-star cast, sharp writing, and stylish direction makes this film a must-watch, especially if you're into movies that don't take themselves too seriously. It's a roller coaster of action, humor, and intrigue that'll keep you entertained from start to finish, but that's just my take. What did you think of the movie? Did it live up to your expectations, or did it miss the mark? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more reviews just like this one. Until next time, keep watching, and I'll catch you in the next review. And that's a wrap on this review, folks. If you enjoyed the video, hit that thumbs up button. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss out on our latest reviews. Share your thoughts on the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare in the comments, and let's keep the conversation going. Thanks for tuning in, and see you all in the next one.